you can also compare it to everybody else's portfolio who's entered into the contest. We're going to have a contest that runs every month starting on July 1st. And you can have the same portfolio that just is entered into each contest. And we mark our portfolios as ineligible for winning. So you're not competing against ours, but you can sort of see the results, the leaderboard that includes ours as well. So if you haven't done that, I think I would highly encourage that. You got nothing to lose. It's completely free. But Savvy Trader itself is also a platform to get your latest news. Like this Electrify America news is like the top of the news, for example. It's on Savvy Trader. Every news event that happens in the market or for a particular stock is sort of organized. You can look at by stock or for the S&P 500 or the market in general. So, or for your portfolio. So lots of exciting stuff there. As far as what I'm looking at personally, I have benefited greatly from Meta's and Netflix and Uber's rise over the past 6 months to a year. I'm no longer accumulating Meta. I'm sort of on the trimming side of Meta and Netflix. I am still adding Rivian when it goes down. I kind of kick myself. Kim mentioned that she added Rivian when it just dipped into the 13s again, and I was about to pull the trigger. I didn't, but if Rivian continues to go down, I would expect to continue to add. I'm sort of on the side of adding when things go down, especially when they're down pretty significantly, way below where I think a company's value should be. And I start trimming when they're like at all-time or 52-week highs. So that's just sort of my general strategy, and it's worked really well for me for over 20 years. So I'm a long-term investor in general. But hopefully that's a good summary of how I invest and Savvy Trader as well.
Yep, I love it, and I'm excited that I have notifications on. So when you do make an addition, I'll be the first to know it. All right, Dylan, you got one last comment here. I got another space coming up in about 2 minutes.
Yep, so it'll be quick. Just want to sing the good graces of Savvy Trader. I think that this is something that can really change Twitter around a lot. So if anybody has any of their favorite content creators out there that seem like that they really know what they're talking about, I definitely encourage the encouragement of moving them to Savvy Trader. I like to hear and I like to see what other people are doing, and I love the text notifications that I receive. Like I follow Hamid, and I love seeing the stock picks that he has because he's absolutely killing it this year. And just being able to collaborate as a community, like as a whole, and being able to be that transparent, it really helps us all become better investors. Even if you've had good success, it's just such a valuable tool. So that's all I have to say.
Yep, can definitely vouch for that. We love having you as a power user. Okay, perfect. So in all overall, for those that haven't already come through, we do talk about macro, tech, AI, and pieces like that. We try to do it twice a week. Next week, we're going to have our Tuesday space moved, obviously, because it is going to be July 4th. So we'll probably push that over to Monday, is my assumption. We'll probably do it Monday sometime in the afternoon, maybe 1-ish, 1:30-ish, something like that. So keep an eye out for that space. Big thank you to, again, all the speakers across the board. Always very helpful
Wolf,
having
quickly.
you here. Yeah, please.
For anyone that follows my portfolio or already has one, go on to Savvy Trader, click that contest button. It is literally no work. You're going to hit entry, submit your portfolio. And for anyone with that portfolio already on there, I know a couple of you are down there, go in and enter that contest. Get the chance to win $200 for $250, sorry, for exactly what you're already doing. So I saw 1 or 2 people go in and join that, and a couple more. Sure, we'll be talking about that a bunch. But I know a lot of you guys already have those portfolios, so it's literally one button for you on Savvy Trader. Just clicking that contest button on the top. But I know you got that in your next space. I appreciate it as always, Wolf, and looking forward to what we got coming.
Perfect. Thank you, Evan. Make sure you guys are checking out Stock Market News' portfolio. It's the most followed portfolio on Savvy Trader, so must be doing something right. Shout out to Hamid, Savvy Trader. Really, really good times, as always, on Spaces. Saw a bunch more people coming in, making accounts, following our portfolios, which is what we love to see. More transparency in investing. All right, I am going to roll us into our next space. Hamid, have a great rest of your Thursday, as well as to the rest of the panel. We'll talk to you all soon. Okay, we are going to go ahead and we're going to get started with my next space. I'm going to be changing the title. I'm bringing Blockster up here. I've got Craig up here. Greg, I see you in the audience. If you want to go ahead and request, bringing Tim up. We're getting the whole crew up here. Evil, you're good to stay if you're able to. I think we talked about this one. And we're pretty much ready to get going. Okay, cool. All right. Lydia, do I have you on the Blockster account?
Hey, Gab, I'm here.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, sorry. I don't know if you want to.
No, I was just going to say it's great to have you on. I'm super excited to get into this space. I know that we have a big panel that's going to be coming up and joining us today for this one. A lot of really fun speakers coming on stage. I'll go ahead and I'll actually drop a co-host as well. I think Eric is going to be coming up and potentially
waiting for
co-hosting
Eric.
with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun for this one. And I'm just really looking forward to it. Real quick, I'll start us out, an introduction. So
Yeah,
Lydia, who's up
absolutely.
here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me here today. It's been a very exciting week for us. We actually just had an announcement yesterday. We're introducing an NFT loyalty program. But in case you guys don't know what Blockster is, we're a media brand. We've launched just about a year ago. And we've just been covering, just what's happening in the Web3 space in general, projects, just like the founders, the creators, the disruptors of the space. And it's just been fun, just collaborating and just kind of like covering all the stories. But this week is kind of been a big week for us because we just partnered with this really, really awesome Web3 loyalty program platform. It's called Calder app. And actually, I have Gokcha today here. She's the CEO of the platform. So, and I've invited a lot of really cool people, like you mentioned. And we just kind of want to talk about, I guess, Web3, the marketing trends in Web3. It just seems like there's just so much going on right now. And just kind of keeping up with the pace of like what's working. Tips, suggestions, trends, ideas. So I think that's I was hoping we could talk about today and kind of have a cool takeaway from that. There's Eric. I don't know if Eric wants to say hey.
Hey.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining, Eric. So yeah, I guess maybe let me just kind of introduce a little bit about some of the people that I invited for today's space. So Gokcha, she's a founder of Calder app. She's Blockster's tech partner. They have this really awesome Web3 loyalty platform. And she's actually one of the early product team members of OpenSea. So she's going to talk a little bit more about just the whole buzzing thing of Web3 loyalty platforms and just like, businesses introducing that, who it's right for. I also invited today, do I see Chris from Wall Street Bets? Originally from Wall Street Bets. I know now you're doing biz dev with TCG World, just strong in the whole metaverse marketing Web3 space. I have also Tim Halderson. He's the CEO of a Web3 marketing agency, Lunar Strategy. Marketing whiz, works with a lot of really cool established brands in the space. I have Craig. Craig is the founder of MetaRides. Also big in the metaverse marketing space, Web3 music marketing. And let me see who else I have. Fidgify. Fidgify talking about Web3 marketing and creating phygital merchandise. I think that's also kind of a hot topic. Everybody's talking about phygital. What is it? When's it right to do? And then I also have, I believe I have Dabbler here. That's Karen. Hi, Karen. Thanks for joining me today. Karen's actually, she's one of the original team members from Magic Eden. And I know now she's with the Bitsky team and a lot of other cool projects. So yeah, sorry, it's a whole lot going on right now, but I guess where should we start? Gokcha, can I bring you to the stage? Can I introduce you? You can just introduce and talk a little bit about just Calendar platform and just having a Web3 loyalty program. What it's all about.
Yeah, of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Gökçe. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Calder. And Calder is the future of interactive loyalty tools, where we aim to turn your customers into community stakeholders and co-creators. And the way we got here and the way we became a partner with Blockster is through our experiences in the industry for the past 5 years. I have been like early team members at Robinhood Crypto, Cello, OpenSea, and my co-founder was an early team member at Compound Labs. And together we have realized that brands ranging from media platforms like Blockster to CPG to e-commerce to creators and communities are inbounding us because we are at like a marketing rebirth and crisis. We have like these brands have came to us saying that their retention and engagement is at an all-time low, where we are in this mass consumption and top-down economy, and that today's loyalty ecosystems only engage customers on point of sale. And this is same with media. This is same with any community. And what Calder does today is that we help any type of brand and platform to turn any action they prefer into a gamified and contribute to an experience so that you can transform your siloed rewards and purchase based rewarding into a bi-directional gamified loyalty engagement. And in that sense, all our memberships are NFT powered so that it's compatible across other brands when you want to partner and your status is with you and owned by you instead of the brand. And it's gamified and interactive such that you are an owner and a stakeholder in the ecosystem, which Blockster is leading the media narrative of, which you can contribute to earn and share to earn by essentially contributing to a Blockster ecosystem, which we will talk a lot about today. And lastly, it's community first and interoperable. Like by joining to Blockster community powered by Calder, you're not only tapping into Blockster Media, but their 100 plus partners that I know Lydia will bring up on and like do a lot of Twitter spaces and rewards with. So it's essentially a gateway to many more brands, partnerships, and exclusive rights to come. But that's where we are.
Coach, that was so awesome. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I think it's just really, really exciting because I don't think I've seen other media companies, or at least they're not really talking about it. But, nobody's really talking about actually creating a Web3 media brand because there's a lot of, publications out there which has covered the stories, but nobody's actually applying like Web3 technology into media. And funny enough, I actually came across Gokcha just because I was doing a story for another brand. And then I was reading about, their use case, how they're applying like actually like rewards, like on-chain rewards for their community. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, imagine if I could just do this with, with our media. And, it just really happened really fast. So she thought it was a great idea and we hit it off. So essentially, we just announced this partnership and we're just getting ready basically to launch our pilot program. So in July, long story short, July, we'll be launching this first ever NFT community where we're curating a community from various other communities. And basically, members will be able to share stories. They'll be able to engage with their stories across all different types of networks. And they earn points for that. And then those points can actually just be swapped automatically for USDC rewards. And we get those USDC rewards because I've been building partnerships with a bunch of different marketing agencies and direct brands themselves. And, they all see the value of this, where, if they publish a story, if they do an interview, if they're doing a Twitter space, to make sure that we can actually push that story out and reach many, many more people, we just simply reward those people to do so. So it's kind of like a Web3 distribution network, which is actually one of the reasons, Gab, I reached out to you because I'm like, I think we should collaborate because you're kind of already doing this. You have built this huge network. And it's just with us, we actually have this platform now where it can all be done on chain. You're an NFT member and then you just get rewarded for sharing stories, attending Twitter spaces, retweeting, and you get tangible, rewards right away. So yeah, just wanted to add to that. So I'm trying to think, Eric, do you want to add something to that? Because Eric, I know you've been with me we've been collaborating, I guess, a lot for a while now, and you've been kind of watching Blockster, and I know you follow so many other media brands. You're so big in media, and just in general, if you want to add something, just kind of what you're seeing and what the market needs right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like you see the NFT nows, you see Hype Moon. Hype Moon just, I think they might be closing their doors
Yeah, I
because they,
just saw that. It's so
yeah.
sad.
But I think at the end of the day, like you've got Descript, you've got, or sorry, Decrypt, Cointelegraph, CoinDesk, et cetera, et cetera. But there's kind of this like who's behind the curtain type thing, and I think there's not really a face to the brand. It's just kind of stuff that's thrown in our faces, and that we take for face value and take it for granted that it's just going to continue supplying us information that is validated and checked and thorough and good reporting. But really, there's no real community component attached to it. There's no incentive for me to share one thing over something else other than just getting what I think is true and real information out. So I think one of the good components to what you're doing and what this is essentially creating some form of referral program that compensates the people that are producing content. And that's one big part of Web3 that really made it appealing in terms of secondary sales and royalties. But also just in life, we love getting commissions and kickbacks and referrals from being able to put people into positions to win. And that ranges from incentives from airline rewards to credit card and debit card signups to, new platforms giving you credits for free use for 3 or 6 or 9 months of the year. So I think you're really kind of bringing that ethos and essence into Web3, and I guess I'm curious of like, do you think this will create I guess more stability and longevity in media in Web3 because it's essentially propelled by the people, and if the people aren't sharing it or reiterating it or distributing it, then it dies in a way. But this is actually giving them a reason to keep it alive. So, do you think? What do you think in terms of longevity and sustainability this provides at large to the space?
That's a great question. Well, I think that's exactly it. It gives it longevity. I think that media needs to evolve, and I think it needs to follow like the trends of Web3. And it's funny because I was just having a conversation with somebody who's kind of like big in this space, and he was asking like, "What's the big deal with Web3 media? Like, what is it, right? Like, people don't really get in like how do you apply Web3 to media?" And why should you, and is it just like a big buzz thing, or is it actually like, it's going to be something? So I think that, you just tapped in something very important, saying that, the rewards programs, I think that's just, it's going to be a big trend. I think it's already a big trend coming that's going to be hitting into every industry and into every market, and I think smart companies are just going to, adapt these rewards programs in unique ways to incentivize their communities. And I think that that's where it's going to get a little bit competitive. Who's got the better rewards for their communities? So I think I'm really excited to be doing this for Blockster because I think we are one of the first ones to do it. I don't know how long that'll be. I think that this is going to get adopted by other companies as well. But I think what's really important here is, to keep the community engaged and interested is, obviously it's the stories and the actual content itself. We're Web3 centric, but two is creating really good rewards so that the community does want to engage and they do want to share those stories. So I think that's going to be something kind of like, I guess, a little bit of a challenge right now. We're focusing on just USDC rewards because it's easy. Just for the pilot program alone, we've pulled together a budget of just, 5,000 per month, with our just initial 200 people that are going to be in the pilot program. But the idea is with this, that brands that I'm already talking to, big brands, agencies, this is going to scale. It's going to scale fast. We're going to have a much larger, a bigger budget to share each month. And as the community will gradually grow, so will that budget. So essentially, it's the whole ownership economy thing that we're talking about, where, the money that we're coming in, we're basically splitting that with the community. So the community feels they're empowered. They're actually like getting something for engaging. And if you think of like all the companies that are out there right now that you're just following and sharing their stories and you're not getting anything really for it, you're just doing it because you like the brand, right? It's going to make you think twice about, doing something and actually being rewarded and incentivized for that, collecting points. Points don't have to just be like USDC rewards. It could be points to get tickets to really cool events. It could be really cool, maybe NFTs or different kinds of gifts. You can really get creative with the type of gifts and rewards you're offering the community. But I think that's going to be the key. Like, people are just going to know if there is brands that are offering really, really good rewards for engaging and sharing their stories the way we're doing it. I think that's going to, like, they're, you know, people are going to come to us because why not, right? So that's what I'm thinking with Blockster. I'm trying to think, maybe we should bring somebody else up to the stage. Thanks, Eric. Tim, I want to bring Tim up just because Tim's in the Web3 marketing space. He owns Lunar Strategy, and I know you work with a lot of different brands and just kind of seeing trends. And I think you have some experience with working different kind of quest platforms, and just kind of what do you want to come up and just kind of share a little bit about what you're seeing right now in the space and the trend?
Yeah, so of course, when it comes to being in a little bit of a rougher market, all companies are looking for new ways of creating genuine engagement. And what we have been doing for many of the projects that we work with, we have been using a tool called Sealy, and they're one of the leaders within like community engagement. And basically, what you do is that you create a community leadership board, and then the more you support, the more rewarded you are, which is kind of like the fundamental principle here of what Blockster is building, that you are rewarding participation and helping a project even on social media, and then tracking it in a transparent way. So I definitely like from our side, what we are seeing is more and more of these community engagement tools where instead of paying a third party, you can pay the users and the community directly with for supporting and helping. And I think that's in the full Web3 spirit. And
Right, exactly. Awesome. Yeah, and you know what? I have another question that kind of comes to mind, and just kind of even just to ask kind of, you know, I guess the other speakers of what their thoughts are about this. You know, the whole Web3 term and just, you know, doing the whole revenue share and just rewarding the community, you know, do you think that applies to just all age groups, or do you think that, you know, should this be focused more on, say, the Gen Z, right? Because if you think about it, it's really like the quest, right? Like creating quests, gamifying. You're basically gamifying, you know, experiences. And I feel like the Gen Z is more like apt to get it more, right? So I'm trying to think who would be, Craig, maybe I'll introduce you to the stage just to kind of, you can share a little bit about your background and just kind of what your thoughts are on just gamifying and like the whole trend of that.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you esteemed speakers. So I'll give you a quick background. Can you hear me okay first?
Yeah,
Yep.
perfect.
Cool. So, yes, I am Craig. I am the co-founder and COO of MetaRides. And MetaRides started just over a year ago when my business partner and I were both part of metaverse environments in a marketing role. So my IRL life is a 25 plus year senior marketing executive in the elite sporting industry throughout Australia and other regions of the world as a consultant. And that, you know, brought me to Web3 about 3 years ago. And as I said, you know, I've originally got involved in a marketing role with metaverse projects, creating metaverse worlds and environments. And then, you know, MetaRides was born from that, purely based on the fact that we are one of the first brands in Web3 to successfully complete interoperability of metaverse assets, and were recently invited as the lead panelists at NFT NYC on interoperability and gaming for the metaverse. So, and for those people who don't know what that means when you go into a standard metaverse world, you know, any individual metaverse environment, you know, Beyond Earth, Luna One, Landian, Income Island, whichever one it be, and you purchase an asset within their universe, their world, it is exclusive to that metaverse. When you leave that metaverse, it doesn't go with you. And what we've managed to complete is the interoperability of those assets. So when you leave, it remains in your wallet, and when you reopen that wallet in any other metaverse world that is Unity or Unreal Engine based, it goes with you. So you can reopen your wallet in that world and use your asset that is held in your wallet across any of those metaverse environments. So it is super cool. It is super exciting. We are about to launch our MetaRides racing gaming platform on Steam. And we have formally applied for PlayStation, Xbox, and iOS. So that game will soon be available across all the different platforms. So it is super cool. And that's just a little bit about me and what we're
Awesome.
doing.
Yeah, Craig, I love what you're doing. We've actually just we've partnered with MetaRides just because I've been following you guys for some time now, and I think you guys have such a cool concept with the fact that you can have these sports vehicles and they're just compatible across these different worlds. And I personally want to just tie that into the Blockster brand. But my question that I started with was, you being an expert in marketing for like 25 plus years, Web3 right now, like are you targeting specifically Gen Z, or do you think it's just kind of goes across different generations, like as far as introducing Web3 loyalty programs, and the whole gamification, like what are your thoughts on that?
Good question. I think, the degens, as we call them in Web3, I think they are more hyper focused on hype and that FOMO, the fear of missing out. So I think a lot of these projects that we see that sell out instantly and that have that hype around them is driven by those degens, those the younger generation. I think in terms of loyalty programs, I think the target market would be more outside of that. People that have been around a lot longer, people that are a little bit older in their lifestyle and have that loyalty to brands. And there's a thing that we use, and Tim will know about this. There's a thing we use in marketing, called reference groups, where you attach yourself to a specific group of whatever it be, whether it be a sporting club, whether it be a car club, whether it be your local community. That's considered your reference group, and the loyalty around that is what I think is missing from Web3, right? And I think what you're bringing to the stage and what Calder are bringing to the stage is the introduction of that loyalty, in the Web3 environment. So I don't think we can target one specific audience, right? I think it needs to be more of a global approach, because the other aspect you have to look at is, three of the largest Web3 acceptance countries right now are outside of the United States. And then you've got that whole socio-economic status, that whole geographical status, the whole demographic breakdown. So I don't think we can target something like a loyalty program to a specific genre. I think it just needs to be a broader approach, in
Right.
terms of trying to access as far and as wide as you can. Like I said, because I think Thailand, Brazil, and it may even be Singapore. Don't quote me on that, but I know Thailand and Brazil are in the top three countries in the world for holding the most number of NFTs per capita by percentage,
Wow.
and holding the most number of cryptocurrency based wallets per capita on a percentage. So
I was sorry to interrupt. I think the one thing you mentioned earlier is just like that first wave of NFTs that we're seeing, and obviously the NFT market has just obviously really died down right now. But it was just just NFTs, right? I think this second wave that we're seeing right now with the loyalty programs, like what Calder's doing, where you can launch an NFT program, you can build an NFT community. It's based around having an actual utility, right? And we're seeing NFTs being used for events, right? We're seeing, in this case, an NFT where, you can engage now with, say our stories, obviously, and our content, and you actually get something for that. So I think that I agree with you. I don't think it's just Gen Z. I think that it applies to everybody, and I think it's just moving so fast that people are just kind of discovering and learning to understand what is Web3 and how does it apply to me. And I think in our case, that's kind of why this week we're just warming up. We really want to just get the facts out there about what Web3 is, and that it is something that everybody can take advantage of, right?
And I think
And I think that with like something like this, like a Blockster membership, right? Like, why would I want to be a Blockster member? Is because, if I'm following, if I'm reading stories, even if I'm reading a story, say once a week, but it covers what's happening in the Web3 space, the whole tech space, the trends, the companies, the thought leaders, right? And I'm engaging with those stories, I actually get rewarded for that. Then I'm building up my points, and then I'll be able to redeem those points, if not just for some cash, you know, event tickets, right? Or some kind of cool experiences, or, you get something for that. So I think it's just something that's just, I think it applies for everybody. But at the same time, putting this out there, and I'm just kind of interested to see how people respond to it. Do people think it's cool? Do people think it's valuable? Or is it just, is it not quite there yet? So that's kind of also something I want to throw out there.
I think it's
I don't know.
I think it is, I think it is something that people want and need, right? They just don't know
Yeah.
they want and need it yet. So how do we
Yeah.
deliver it? How do we deliver it to them? But the biggest thing, you said one word there in your entire thing, was community. And I think what I've noticed over my 3 years in Web3 is that, you know, project and founders don't understand the difference between community and customer, right? And there's a complete distinct difference between a customer and a community member. And until they get that
Yes.
through and they understand the difference, I think you're always going to have Web3 is always going to carry that mentality of everyone's just a customer. All you're interested in is getting money, 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 money from people. And until we can change that mentality and that mindset to be, it's not all about money. With MetaRides and what we're building is our mentality is community, and we give more than we take. And that's the difference between a community member and a customer. You give more to them than you take from them or you expect from them. And that's how you build a community. But there's so many, like I said, I've been in this space 3 years. I was here before Board 8 Yacht Club even went to mint, right? So before they were even launched. And I've seen 100,000 projects come, and I've seen 98,000 of them go, because they didn't understand that difference between community and customer. And then once you've got the customer, you can't just take their money and not treat them. And what Web3 is really hyper focused on right now is that essence of community. And you said, and you also said,
Nailed it.
you also
I just
said,
love everything you're saying. You're absolutely right. Actually, Eric, that's what your original question was to me. It's just the longevity, of media companies. And I think that's where media companies really struggle, is that, the traditional route of media is just you write your story, you kind of have like the publication's voice and angle, and you put it out there, but it seems like it's a little one-sided, and I think Web3 is just so focused around community. And like, it's what you're saying, Craig. It's just, you're treating people not like as customers, but like, they're part of basically the brand, they're part of the company. And I think that's why, I'm really excited about what we're doing. But again, we're going to be exploring. It's kind of like, trying something new, but I think it's got a lot of potential. Craig, thank you. You're so very insightful in this space. It's just always really, really cool to connect, and it's really cool to collaborate with you. Let me see who is Fidgify. I wanted to introduce Fidgify. Jan, I'm not sure if Jan's here. Gokcha, do you want to share a little bit more about on the
Yeah,
subject?
I actually want to jump into what Eric and Tim mentioned. Like, I think especially like when it comes to like what you're building here today, Lydia, what's very exceptional, irregardless of the technology here, is that you're essentially creating the first way to systematically and scalably share your revenue with the influencers. Like, I think what Eric said right about essentially paying influencers top down, and influencers or creators not having an incentive to share content anymore is where we are going with the mass consumption and creation of content. But like what we were excited about at Calder when we decided to make our first media loyalty partnership was this idea that we can essentially bring ownership economy to media, because we have gotten so many inbounds about like token gated chats, rewards, collectibles, drops, but nobody was ready to essentially democratize the access to their revenue shares, and by doing that, increase their platform's impressions and thus long term revenue. So that's, I think, the 10-year game you're playing here, where by aligning the incentives or your creators and communities right with your platform, you're essentially bringing more community impressions and eyes and attention to your platform. And this is like NFTs and tokens, these are just the right infrastructure to track, reward, and analyze. But by no means it is at the center of this loyalty program you're launching. And this is our perspective for the future too. Just like the rise of the internet, we believe blockchain just will be a shared standard. And in this sense, like the old times of hyper monetizable NFTs are over, and that people, regardless of the technology, will be joining loyal Blockster program to be a creator and winner and co-creator and stakeholder to our platform. And I think that's like, and utility is sadly very overused concept in our ecosystem, but that's like the financial and social rewards that you are promising.
I love it. You're just like, you so nailed it. Exactly. Like the blockchain technology, they're just tools, right? We're kind of getting into the next generation, which is like, this is how you use these tools. I love that Gab's raising his hand in this show. Gab, I know that like you work with so many different influencers and you build such a such a big network with Twitter Spaces in general, which is actually one of the reasons why I reached out to you, because I'm like, Gab, I feel like I want to collaborate with you on this. And it's still early, but do you want to talk?
Yeah, I definitely want to hop in here. I thought it was a fascinating idea what you were doing because it's something that everyone's trying to crack, right? And that is, how do I get people to interact more with my content, to share out what I'm doing? And it often comes down to incentivization, right? Especially if you are smaller, you have a community, right? How do you incentivize these people to interact? And that's what you've really locked into, which is, I think, the true idea to Web3 here, which is, as people are retweeting, sharing, engaging, they're actually able to earn money for that, right? And a pretty easy way to earn it with the NFT that gives them simple entry to this. I wanted to bring in some of the other speakers that we had on stage as well. I brought in Greg and a couple of others who I think could really throw some interesting thoughts in this. Greg, I know we talked about you wanting to be involved with some more of these Web3 spaces. Would love to get your thoughts on the concept here. I found Blockster originally because they were putting out some great articles in the space. They just had amazing SEO. They were coming up to the top of it. They had this really unique idea where they were coming into Twitter Spaces and turning that Twitter space into an article, getting it published, and making the space last longer. But then the question is, how do we get people to share out these articles, right? And how do we get them to interact with all this wonderful content that's going on the website? And that's when there became this idea, okay, well, we can bring in the sponsor can put an upfront budget, and now the sponsor is getting shared out, right, by people sharing out this article, but more than people just having to come to it and then to see, hey, an ad on it. Instead, they're actually creating a much more active engagement of, hey, we're going to put up, let's say, $5,000 of funding for these set of articles being shared, and whenever someone shares it, we're going to give that person 50 cents or $1, whatever it is, kind of creating a system. And Greg, I would just love to get your thoughts on some of the way that they're going, and then if anybody hasn't had a chance, just take a look at Blockster's website as well. As we're talking here, you can just go right through their profile to see it. I've got some articles up on there. There's a bunch of other stuff, a lot of great contributors. So curious to hear your thoughts, Greg.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on stage, you guys. This is, the first time I'm coming across this kind of approach. And it's interesting. I think it definitely cuts down on some of the friction and some of the incentive models when you think about just the way like advertising in general, and in this case, kind of sponsorships and things like that. It's kind of broken where the user kind of gets the short end of the stick a lot of the times. This reminds me of some of the stuff that like maybe Brave is working on, trying to take on like, just getting rewarded for basically taking actions online, right? And making it so that everybody has aligned incentives. It's a very interesting concept. I think that, one thing that I heard that it just got me thinking a little bit is this idea like Web3 is not about the money. And to me, it is all about the money, like kind of by definition, right? It's like this technology kind of allows you to facilitate value transfer. And so that doesn't mean that by integrating blockchain or any sort of other, DLT technology, that you're only focused on the money and you're not there for community. But I think Web 2 allows for community And what Web3 does is it allows for more peer-to-peer, more trust, more transparency. And so bridging that together, I think, is really where the power is. And so I don't know, it was just a random thought that came to me that like branding Web3 is like Web3 is not about money. I think that it doesn't resonate because a lot of people come here like strictly for that, and so maybe focusing more on kind of how communities can make money, which is like kind of how what I hear you guys are actually doing. So yeah, it's an exciting concept. I'm definitely stoked to check out the site. I'm actually working on releasing a Web3 newsletter that's kind of it's based around like enterprise blockchain adoption and things like that, which is a white space that I think isn't really being talked much about. So definitely keen to kind of check out what you guys are doing, and maybe I can be part of the network. So sounds cool.
Yeah, thank you. I was just gonna say, with a lot of, I'm kind of building a network where we syndicate. If you want to connect and collaborate and do some kind of syndication with your newsletter onto Blockster, I would totally be open to that. Two, advantage of that would be because as we're building our NFT community and we're going to have this platform where we're powering them, where, you know, if you want to get something shared, you know, you have some kind of story and you want to push it out there, you know, we can talk about plugging you into that program, you know, where we can publish your story and then our community can share that, you know. So maybe you have some advertisers and projects that are spotlighting themselves on your newsletter. You can use Blockster essentially as an extension because we have this platform can do that now. I think you're totally right about the money part too. And, you know, we were first introducing this program and kind of building the concept behind it. You know, Calder actually essentially works more with just rewards, like gifts and experiences kind of thing. And they don't actually do, like the platform itself right now in a state doesn't actually offer like crypto rewards. But my first response was exactly what you said. I think people want to make money. Even if it's just a rewards, this isn't like a money-making job thing. This is just a rewarding kind of thing. I think people still want to make money. I think right now, especially with the economy, I like to call it the gig economy. I think people have all kinds of gigs. I think people are hustling left and right, no matter what level you're in. And that's why I was like, you know, if we're going to launch this program, I think it makes sense to do it with just, you know, actually USDC. It's a stable coin, you know, and we've created a very simple swap system where, you know, you're in the system, right? You do your quest, you retweet, you know, you share the story in Discord, you got your points, and then you can just simply send your points to your smart contract and it sends you back USDC. So it's, again, it's a new generation because you're not going on the market, you know, you don't actually have like a token that you're going to go dump and it's going to, that whole thing. It's basically like a prepaid balance, you know, and it's our job to curate that budget each month with, you know, our partners, our brand partners, our marketing partners, you know, create a nice budget so that the community that's involved with this, they already know that there is X budget available for them that this month, and they're going to be excited. They're going to be a part of it because they know that they can earn something. But at the same time, you know, they're just, it's just a little bit of a hustle. So yeah, I wanted to just share that with you. We should totally talk and collaborate. Gab, sorry.
No, you're all good. I love hearing it, and that would be super cool if I start seeing Greg's stuff get published on there. I think it would really bump up your SEO and get in front of a lot of people. I did see a hand come up from the Dabbler.
Yeah, hi everyone, and thanks,
Hey, Karen.
Lydia from the Blockster team for inviting me up. Yeah, so just by way of background, I used to lead Launchpad and partnerships marketing at Magic Eden. So like this idea of just monetization from the community side as well as the creator side was always top of mind, right? And when we think about like interaction and engagement, like at least in the Web 2 world, that was very the benefits of the attention that you give or the content that you create is so centralized, and creators end up getting like a small portion of you know, whatever value they end up driving, and then the user end up not getting anything at all, right? And so I think experimenting with something that rewards both sides of the creator as well as the brand as well as the user and community itself is super interesting, and doing that in a permissionless way that's facilitated by the blockchain is certainly interesting. And like I see this in like my current role where I'm advising for a couple of companies, and one in particular is just like more related to influencer marketing. And there's a lot of manual work that goes behind the scenes, right? Around like content planning, creation, and tracking like the metrics, and then distributing the rewards from there. And so if there's like some way you can like kind of automate that on the blockchain level around like tying a wallet to your Twitter account and seeing like the engagement like of whether retweets happened, a spaces has been attended, or whatever other action that you want to add a trigger, or a reward incentive around, like that is just better facilitated with like much less like manual processes around behind the scenes. So yeah, super excited for what Blockster is building here.
Thanks, Karen. Yeah, I hope you're part of the pilot program. That's why I reached out to you. Essentially, Gab, like the people that are here today, I guess what's the takeaway from all this is just what is Web3 media marketing, and that's just to kind of establish this is what we're doing, and B, like everybody who wants to actually see what that experience is like, or NFTs. Price hasn't been announced yet, but it's not gonna be much, because again, I'm more interested in curating a really good quality of people that are just interested in this space in one way or another, and you'll actually get rewarded as well. But I invite people to actually check out what we're doing, because I think this is a really innovative way of marketing. And again, if you're an influencer, I think it's interesting for you as well. Something I want to touch on, because you're probably going to ask questions, and I know, Gab, you asked me these questions when I first reached out to you, and I shared this to you. And thank you so much, by the way, for your support, because we've talked about this we've been talking about this for a while now, so you've been kind of watching this on the sidelines. So it really means a lot that you actually support this, you see the vision in this. And the first question was that, there's different influencers, right? You could be just, maybe you're a Web3 enthusiast and you don't have a big audience, but you're in the space, you follow, you're in it, and then you're actually like big time influencers. So what happens when you join the program? What if I have 150,000 followers, or what if I only have 1,000 followers? How do we have that system set up? I'm answering my own question. So essentially, just to launch this, we're just doing a 1-level tier, and this is just phase 1. But the way Calder's system is set up, and I think Gokcha, you should probably jump in at some point just to kind of talk about this more, because it's your platform. But we can introduce different tier level NFTs. And I think what can happen here is, if you're a higher level influencer, if you do have big audience, from our side, what we can do is offer you a higher level tier membership where you're earning maybe 5x or 10x more points when you do a share, because we know that you have a massive reach and it's worth more to that. At the same time, we're also going to be experimenting with the fact, say somebody has 1,000-person audience, but they want to be earning more points for that. You know what I mean? Well, maybe you're just earning those points, you're collecting those points, and then you can upgrade to those higher tier levelship just through time of earning more points, or you can just buy those points, right? You can upgrade your NFT level membership. If you want to spend money on a higher level membership, you can do so. But I think what's really interesting here is that Calder, again, that's why I just was so impressed with the platform, and I'm just so happy we're partnering with this, is that, it's the whole experience is very seamless. It's integrated, by the way, into Apple Wallet. So I just go pull out my Blockster card, I tap in, I see when I'm in there, I share a story, and then boom, I get my points and I can swap them. I think that's really seamless. But again, if you're an influencer, maybe this is something that's interesting to you, because you're like, well, I'm already sharing and I'm already doing all this engagement stuff. If I'm in Blockster, I'm actually going to be getting something for that. Might as well try it out. And that's something we'd want to kind of, I guess, introduce in phase 2, where we can introduce these next level tier memberships, and we can have different levels of people in our system. And I think that would kind of create more of a fair system for, what you're doing. Gokcha, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, I think one thing to jump in here on technicality side is the program is at the early access and invite only stage right now. And the reason is that essentially the first pilot program is for the select cohort to be co-creators and stakeholders, the Blockster. But what this means is that regardless of the price, which of course is to be announced, and the idea is that the moment you get in, you make more value and revenue than the price you're paying. Just like any paid loyalty program offers you more value once you like are part of it, there is more and recurring value that members will gonna get aside from the community too. Like we talk, like everyone talks about community and the social aspect, but what we are seeing here is that like and influencers and creators want is recurring, stable, and scalable revenue that they will be keep seeing in the Blockster. And of course, like Lydia and Blockster's like platform is increasing their PR and partner program too, which will create opportunities to scale this program to up to 10,000 influencers. But at the same time, when it comes to reshares and impressions, Calder's super admin dashboard through your links can track your impressions, links, and how like even like how well your post is doing, so that in the next stage of the program we will be introducing, of course, dynamic payouts. So you get the contribution you are earning in the revenue and like payout ways. And of course, the next step will be that here will be also tiers. And in these tiers, like we know that the more you contribute, the more you should earn. So that systematically you will be able to upgrade your membership, but also will be able to earn more, because we know if you create a deeper or more genuine post, it's just going to engage with more people. And this is independent of followers. Sometimes like there's people with followers like millions of followers, and we see this with our other customers where they pay a lot of money to this influencer and there's no retention, but a micro influencer can do much better job. So we know there are influencers out there that can be the ambassadors of Blockster and that we can reward for their true honest like work and like in a way like sweat equity. But yeah, and Calder will be doing the technical work in the back end to make that happen.
Let's bring in Beck.
Yo. No, I just really joined because the title is Web3 Media, and I think this is a really cool thing. So I've loved hearing about the plans with Blockster. I think that like at this time, there's a lot of junk on the timeline. So it's always cool like when those Web3 companies are actually working to bring a bit more enjoyment to the feed, and especially with Elon Musk talking about like him rewarding unregretted minutes is going to be the way that your timeline works from now on. So that's going to be who's seen more on the feed is like stuff that people actually want to see and don't regret seeing, which is a funny way to put it. But I am super curious, like the plan with Blockster. So you talked a lot about this rewarding creators and that sort of thing. Is it going to be all based on Blockster, or is the goal at some point to more move it into like rewards for other big posts and stuff that's going on?
So that's a very good question. So Blockster right now, we kind of just have a certain type of content, and that's essentially kind of like what I just basically build the brand around. When I'm talking right now to different brands and agencies, they have their own ideas and requests of possibly doing their kind of own quests, which essentially it won't necessarily be a story on Blockster. It'll just be a quest. So to answer your question, I think the direction this is going to go is just with all our different partners, they're all going to kind of pull in there, and there are going to be different types of quests coming in there. Again, we're experimenting, and the pilot program is going to kind of prove and show really the direction we're going to want to take this with. But right now, I am kind of opening it up to just, inviting different communities and different brands, Web3 centric for now, that will create quests like, hey, join our Twitter space. Hey, share this on Discord. Here, share this on LinkedIn. And whatever other, gadgets Coach is going to put in there, because I know she's already got really cool ideas and stuff. I hope that answers your question. But yeah, we're going to open it up. It's not just the story, and it's not just an article that we published on Blockster. I think that was just, it's just the very early stage and how I started the Blockster brand. I think the future of Blockster, and really what Blockster is, I think it's the community. I think that, Blockster is the person himself who's Web3 centric. Blockster is just like the person who's just kind of like in both, like going to the events and just, I think it's more of like a culture and a lifestyle type of brand. So we're going to be introducing a lot more. We're going to be really building the brand. And the platform itself, for quests and rewards and engaging, I think there's going to be a lot of other different things happening in there that won't necessarily appear on Blockster's homepage.
Cool. Yeah, sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Love the vision.
Thank you.
Hey, we have a couple others that are up here too. I know Fiddy joined in. Lydia, did you want to bring him into the mix? If you're available, Fiddy. Or Evil, Bilo. We got a few that are up here. We got about 9 minutes left here.
I'm right here, buddy, but I need like 2 minutes. I just have to get my coffee ready and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, no problem. Kyle, you want to jump in?
What up? What up? Thanks for having me on. It's been a great panel. Really appreciate Blockster and all the work that everybody's been doing. And, I think it is so important to provide transparency into these markets. I actually come from a media company as well. I launched Security Token Market, and we focus on real world asset tokenization. So real estate, equities, debt, a lot of the real investments that we see on Wall Street, that you see on Robinhood, and what are the applications that blockchain can provide to those things. And we see a lot of examples, whether it's just as simple as new types of investments, getting earlier stage companies or newer types of products, or like what we see with some of the existing market products, you can actually leverage the utility and loyalty benefits that crypto provides, but attach it to a real investment. Like with Aspen in St. Regis, Aspen Resorts in Colorado, they allow for shareholders of the company that is tokenized, that is trading, and you get discounts at the hotel. You get to they did a test drive event with Lamborghinis at the hotel. They do exclusive events with their community. So I think there's a lot of really cool things that you can do to tie it to a token, and none of this would be able to be understood by the community without the media, without the transparency, without providing, I think that so many people say that term, do your own research. But unless there's actual research and unless there's actual pathways for people to actually understand what's going on, that's just a phrase that falls really flat. And so I think that not only publishing information, but building communities, building events, spaces like this where not only we can all communicate across the industry, across different perspectives, but then allow other people to ask questions and learn, and fostering an environment where everybody can participate and grow together, I think is so key in this adoption, because of the fact that, whether we like it or not, the technology we've built isn't necessarily the most user intuitive, right? There's a learning curve with a lot of this stuff, and we need to do everything we can to try to make that as low as possible and allow as many people to participate as we can. So really appreciating the panel, and thanks for everyone for having me on.
I just wanted to touch on that. That's just so awesome that you said that. I just wanted to add something. I think that right now, I think like Web3 is kind of getting a lot of bad stick about it, and big companies don't know if they should be using the term NFT or they should be using the term Web3. Is it bad? Is it good? And whatnot. And I think that you totally nailed it. I think there just needs to be more good information about there. I hate when I go to some of the big mainstream Web3 publications. I'm not going to call them out. They do great stories, but sometimes it's just so negative. And, there's been a lot of like legal issues going on with this SEC. Okay, but there's a lot of great stories and use cases of what's happening. And I just feel like half the time when I go and just kind of see and scan the news just to kind of see like, what do we want to cover? It's always bad stories. And I'm like, why aren't we like educating? Like, why aren't we actually just bringing a spotlight more on the positive side of Web3 technology? What is Web3? Because half the people don't even understand it besides it being a buzz. So I'm with you. Thank you for highlighting that. And I think that and companies and founders that are adapting Web3 technology, and what does it mean? Because at the end of the day, it's just tools. They're just technologies, and we're just creating innovative experiences and better user experiences for the communities. So with you there. Thank you.
Great points. Great points. Okay, Evil, did you want to get in a minute or two here with any thoughts?
Yeah, I just kind of have one, I guess, really high level question for you guys, and that's whether or not you're thinking about yourselves as a B2B play or you're thinking about yourselves as a B2C play.
That's a good question, and the thing is, I'm actually kind of in the middle of both right now. B2C for the NFT community, it's definitely B2C. from a B2B, projects, communities, and brands that are looking to, promote whatever it is that they're doing, right? I'm building relationships with them. So I'm kind of in between both sides where I'm forging relationships with brands and companies who want to partner with Blockster, with whom we can create these stories on a regular basis, create like really cool stories, and then they can leverage obviously our community to help push those stories out. And then on the B2C side, I'm looking to build partnerships and just build a community with influencers, and not just influencers, really Web3 enthusiasts. If you're in this space, if you work in this space, if you follow this space, if you invest in this space, if you're actually, a full-time influencer, then I want to build that community, and I want you guys to be part of the Blockster family. So yeah, I think we're on both sides.
I'm just kind of curious about that, just to kind of dig in there just a little bit. Like, it seems like if you're going the B2B route, that you'd be able to leverage kind of the work that they've done to build communities, like essentially coattail on their lift, right?
Exactly. That, you know what? That is exactly what I'm doing. Like literally, we just announced this yesterday. So I reached out to Gav, and I wanted to do kind of almost like a warm opening up to what is it that we're doing with Gav, just because I think you're so awesome. But moving forward, building on this campaign week after week after week, I'm already talking to some big brands, big communities that we're going to basically kind of do almost like a wave invite, where we're going to be inviting different communities, specific communities that we know their community would be really ideal to be part of the Blockster NFT community. So I really want to stretch it out, gradually as we start the pilot program, because we're going to kick it off with 200 people, but my goal is to get it to 10,000. So this means that we can just spread this out week after week after week after week, and we can really diversify the community, because we can invite somebody from the gaming community, for example, right? Or we can invite from the whole Web3 fashion, or Web3 music, or metaverse. There's so many diverse aspects of Web3 and the different communities out there. And it's exactly what I want to do. We want to be forging partnerships with the established brands, with the great communities, and inviting their communities to be a part of Blockster.
I got to pop in here for actually a second because I've got a hard stop in about a minute. So I mean, Craig, do you want to get like 20 seconds in here? I've actually got a 2 p.m. meeting I got to be on.
I'm here also if you need me. I've only got 20, 30 minutes, so don't worry.
No, you go. I'm okay. I was just going to ask a question, but if you're on a time schedule, go for it.
Yeah, unfortunately, hard stop here coming up. I got to hop into a important meeting. So I do want to give a huge thank you to Lydia for first off inviting all these amazing speakers to the space and highlighting them up here. And hopefully people in the audience have been able to hear from the incredible people that are up here. In addition to that, there's big stuff coming for Blockster. This program is going to really allow people in the audience who've been trying to find a way to monetize in Web3 and also just get better content and get more involved. A way to do all that. So Lydia, I'll give you last comments here, and then we'll close this one out and look forward to the next.
Okay, yeah, same thing, Gab. Like, you are amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks for everybody that came here today. The people that I invited, thank you. You're all very close to me. For people in the audience, I'm looking for all kinds of collaborations, whether it's a newsletter that you have and we can curate content together, or, if you're an influencer and enthusiast in this space, I invite you to join our waitlist. If you just go to our Blockster Twitter channel or visit our site, you'll see where you can just enter your email, join our waitlist, and basically you'll be part of the priority list to launch this program. I invite you to check it out because I promise you it's going to be really, really, really cool. And again, that's it. I want you guys to be part of this kind of our experience, our journey in kind of establishing what Web3 media is all about. And I think that, yeah, that's why I connected with you. I think that you have such a great community, such a great audience, and I would love to just plug you guys into what we're doing and just kind of keep this collaboration going.
Sounds perfect. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you to the rest of the panel. Appreciate you all being on today. Apologize to those who did not get a chance to speak enough. We will be doing more of these, and we will be sure to invite you back so we can continue to hear from you. Shout out to the audience. We will